The Sin Devil trigger bar is added above the regular DT bar after Devil Sword Dante is acquired, even if Dante has one of his other swords equipped. It fills slightly when Dante takes damage, but is not filled by taunts or stylish combat like the regular DT gauge. The main method of filling it is using the move Accumulate, which transfers power from the regular DT gauge to the SDT gauge. It takes 12 bars of the DT gauge to fill the SDT gauge. A distinctive sound effect is heard when the SDT gauge is filled. It is important to pay attention to this, since the command for using SDT is the same as the command for filling the gauge. Charging the gauge does not have an associated animation, and the player can do it while performing other actions. It takes a short time to activate SDT, indicated by the gauge filling outwards from the middle. The move then activates when the button is released. A bestial roar can be heard when the move is ready, and Dante's SDT demon form will briefly appear over him. As with Accumulate, Dante can perform other moves while SDT is being readied or ready. The player can release the button to stop filling the bar at any time with no consequence, but once it is filled there is no way to cancel it in-game, and the player is committed to using SDT. This can be circumvented by pausing the game, letting go of the DT button, and resuming. Once activated, there is normally a short animation of Devil Sword Dante impaling Dante through the chest, during which Dante cannot take damage. This ends with an explosion which will deal damage to all enemies nearby. Activating SDT will cancel any action Dante is currently taking with absolute priority, even overriding normally uninterruptible moves such as Balrog's Real Impact and Pyromania. Health is not restored by SDT, but Dante does gain so-called super armor in this state, meaning his attacks cannot be interrupted, he cannot be staggered or knocked down, and he takes drastically reduced damage from enemy attacks. SDT removes access to Dante's normal weapons and styles, instead having its own moveset with a regular sword combo that ends with a gigantic 360-degree sword sweep, a homing stinger, which functions like a Laster or Nevin's Vortex, a high-damage fireball attack, representing Ebony/Umbra, a rapid-fire laser bolt attack, representing Ivory/Luce, a descending ground-pound AoE attack like a much more powerful version of Ifrit's Inferno, and a unique grapple attack which will deal enormous damage if an enemy is held for long enough. Its ultimate move, Judgment, unleashes a flurry of sword moves that hit every enemy in the current area, terminating in a massive explosion. This move will instantly end SDT once it concludes, but cannot be interrupted once started even if the SDT gauge expires, serving as a useful way to get in some extra damage as an ender. The SDT form also has the ability to dodge and a trickster-like teleport move. Rather than walking, it glides along the ground. It also has air raid, allowing the player to press jump to have Dante hover in mid-air at his current altitude. Unlike prior versions of air raid, SDT's version allows Dante access to all of his normal attacks. The bar normally starts to deplete as soon as the animation of Dante being impaled concludes, but at SSS style rank the animation is skipped, Dante simply changing forms like the normal double trigger, and the bar does not start to deplete for 5 seconds. When the SDT bar is fully depleted, Dante will drop to the ground on one knee and is unable to act and vulnerable for a short time. Normally, the player cannot interrupt SDT once activated. By purchasing the ability Quadruple S, an exception is created. If the player enters SDT at SSS rank and is still in the 5-second period where the SDT bar does not deplete, during which the border of the SDT bar will glow white, they can manually cancel out of SDT mode and retain their full SDT bar. Leaving SDT mode this way does not result in the usual short period of vulnerability for Dante. As the final boss of Vergil's story, Dante utilizes Sin Devil Trigger with Quadruple S, transforming into the form mid-combo and during various phases. At low health, Dante uses Advent to warp to Vergil's location and performs Judgment, in a similar manner to Vergil's usage of Judgment Cut End.
Let's have some fun.